Hey, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about low carb. If you watched my menu plan, then you know that I said I'm going to go low carb. So some of this you've already seen, you've already heard, but in case you haven't, I wanted to go back over why I'm doing it. And then I have notes of just a little bit about what low carb means and how I'm going to do it. Now let me preface this whole video by saying, I am not your doctor. I am not telling you to go low carb. The reason I'm doing this video is because several of you mentioned in the comments that, hey, you were going to do it with me, or, hey, I'm going to try that too. And I thought, well, that's a good opportunity for maybe us to discuss this, and maybe we can check in a time or two a week just to see how we're doing on it. We can definitely share recipes or tips or tricks. But if you're going to do low carb, you don't do it because a girl on her phone said so. And you don't do it because you think I know everything I'm talking about. Because trust me, no. I know what I can read online, the research I've done, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. So you take this for what it's worth. If you have medical problems, you talk to your doctor and see if it is okay for you to do low carb. So I am not telling you to do it. I'm not advocating for you to do it or anything. So I just want to make that clear. The reason I'm doing it is because it is a proven form of, I guess you would say, rapid weight loss. And we'll go into how it works in a little bit. But this is like a broken record, and I'm sorry that it is. But I have a major back surgery that I need. They consider it elective because I didn't fall down and I'm in an emergency situation. But it is, to me, an emergency situation. My back is to the point to where it really can't get any worse unless it gets, done. I don't know how else to describe it. I have severe spinal stenosis. I have a nerve that is pinched to China and back. And then I have two knees that have been needing replacing since I was 49. And I think I've told you before, they wouldn't do them back then because I weighed too much. I'm a good 100 pounds more now. So you think they're going to do them? No, because I've been to the doctors over the years. So there's 3 things that need fixing on me that they cannot and will not do, won't even attempt to do at my size. Okay, so my visit with the neurosurgeon this week, I find he wants to do my surgery. He wants to do it. He went so far as to have me on his schedule back in June for June the 20th. And he said he had to take it before his, board of peers, other neurosurgeons, and they flat out turned me down. They won't let him do it. And he said he will not leave me. He will keep advocating for me. And I told him, I said, well, what do they want from me? Find out, what do they want from me? Because I know I have to lose weight, but I've not known how much. And so I said, have them pin it down. I've got to know what I'm shooting for. Am I shooting for 20 pounds or am I shooting for 200 pounds? Because that's a difference. That is a huge difference in what I need to do and how long it's going to take me to do it. So he got back to me because I messaged him. We got to talking, and it didn't come up while we were talking on our Zoom. So he got back with me just right away, and he said 50% BMI is like where they like to have it for emergency surgeries. For elective, like I said, which is mine is considered, is 40%. He said, but if you can get to 45% BMI, I will represent your case to them. So I went on and found the National Institute of Health, their BMI index chart. Where I'm at right now, at my weight at that day, because I'm actually up a couple pounds. I weigh, used to every day. Now it's like maybe every other day. Doing this, it'll probably be back to every day. I know. But I'm actually up a couple pounds because that's just how we go back and forth. But 322, the point, whatever, don't matter. So 322 with my height of 5'7", they tried to say 5'6 and a half, but I'm not going with that. 5'7", used to be 5'9", and my back has shrunk me to 5'7". I always wanted to be 6 foot, but that's neither here nor there. Put me at 50.4, if I remember correctly. And I checked that chart to get down to 45 BMI. I need to lose 35 pounds. That put me at 287. So I need to get down to 287, 35 pounds to get my case represented. Now, yes, I could keep going, like I said, slow and steady. That's what they say. Slow and steady wins the race. Hold on, I'm getting a dry mouth. I got my chair over here so I can have my coffee. But I have needed this surgery for so long because my back rapidly declined. Even he couldn't get over from the first MRI he saw on me to one just a couple months later. He couldn't get over how rapid it declined, and now it's declined to the point to where if it was a recliner, it would be all the way back. And the next thing is for it to fall off its rocker and just hit the floor. So if I'm that close, 35 pounds, I lost 13 pounds the 2 months from when I saw him to this week. In those 2 months, 13 pounds, that's it. So 13 times 13 times 13, 246. I don't want to wait 6 or more months. That's considering if I can lose 13 pounds, okay? So another reason that I had already, and I didn't tell you this on my menu plan because frankly it escaped me, but my endocrinologist, he told me when I check my blood sugar after I eat, I am to be no higher than 80. He said, or else, is his exact words, you ate too many carbs. So my blood sugar never goes to 80. My blood sugar is never below 100. It's never below. The lowest I got it the other day was 115. Normally it runs around 140. So I already had in the back of my mind, when I go back next week, I think it is, or the week after, he's going to put me on low carb. I can just feel it. I have been feeling it. So when this came about that I needed to lose the weight, I thought, maybe that's a sign. Maybe you just go ahead and do the low carb yourself. You'll work on your blood sugar and you'll maybe drop that weight a little bit quicker than what you're doing now. Yes, now is a lifestyle, but I need a means to an end. The means will be low carb. The end will be qualifying for surgery. Once I get my surgery and perhaps some of my leg function back, and obviously my back function back, as I heal, then I can start back on slow and steady wins the race. I can start back on something that is sustainable. I know low carb is not sustainable because I did keto before. That is not sustainable to me. Me and my husband just couldn't do it. It is so restrictive. And we're going to talk about why. I'm doing low carb, and some of the foods that I'm not going to get rid of and some that I am, it's my low carb. See, that's the thing about low carb. There's different degrees of it. You can take it as far as you want. I mean, you can take them carbs down to practically nothing and go keto, or you can keep them like somewhere in the middle, or you can take it all the way up to what the FDA or whoever it is, USDA, is it USDA, whichever one that says what you should eat dietetically, and go way on up with theirs. I think I'm going to be somewhere in the middle. So that is why I'm doing it, because it is it's a proven form of rapid weight loss. And I guess the fastest might be keto. I don't know how long it takes your body to adjust. If it has to adjust to low carb, or if it just automatically starts dropping it like that. I don't know if it goes up and down, but I do know I have to give it a try. So let's go into some of these facts and I got a bunch of paper. I'm going to try not to talk too long, but I'm not making no promises. So what does low carb mean? It means you're limiting your carbs that are grains, starchy vegetables, fruits. You're limiting them. Like I said, there's degrees of how much you're going to limit them. You're going to emphasize on more protein and fat. Now, the more fat part comes with keto. When you go more down towards the keto, that's where you add more fat in because, hold on. And I'm not talking about keto because I don't understand all of it. It's they talk about going into ketosis. You have to eat certain things and it's to me, very confusing. So that's what I was saying. I'm not going keto. So I'm not going to go high fat. I'm going to go kind of somewhere in the middle. Now, I'm still going to do Weight Watchers. That's where I know it's possible. Because like I told you, I've seen the girl on Instagram. She does the wonderfully low carb food, and she stays on her points. So I know it's possible. What will happen is, even if there are higher fat foods, there's a trade out. Potato points for maybe full fat cheese points. You see what I'm saying? So, and I think with Weight Watchers, the staying in the points, I still want to keep it low calorie. Because just like the endocrinologist said, he said, I don't care. Yeah, I don't care what you're doing, but you got to watch your calories. He said, it's calories in, calories out. He was adamant about that. He talked about that more in our visit than anything else. Watch your calories, how many calories you're eating. He didn't like Weight Watchers because I didn't have a calorie count. And I'm supposed to be counting calories now, but I haven't been. It's just, I'm so geared in my mind towards points. And I'm a lazy tracker. I don't want to track double, which I've got to try to kind of do maybe a little bit between now and my visit. So when he says how many calories you've been eating, I can say, well, this. Plus, I don't want to go over my calories. See, that's where, and it can get kind of confusing. Low carb, but high fat, but calories. So higher fat foods have higher calories, lower carbs. So do you worry more about your carbs, or do you worry more about your calories, or do you worry more about your points? That's where it gets kind of cuckoo. That's where it's up to you to decide. That is not a decision I can make for you. I cannot tell you you have to pick one over the other. That's where you have to decide which one is more important, which one will help you the most. You have to experiment with your own body, with your own foods. Let's say you decide that you're going to cut out all carbs, but you cannot give up potatoes. So you cut out all the carbs and you're still eating potatoes and you're not losing weight. Well, maybe then take the potatoes out, experiment and see, did you lose weight? Then maybe there's something where your body does not react to that type of starch very well. So anyway, listen, I have notes here and I'm going to be all over the place. I'm going to tell you right now. But I'm looking on here. I made my note that I'm going to do the blue because green, I cannot do green because I told you I'm a lazy tracker. I'm a lazy weigher and portioner, and I know me, and I'm not going to count chicken or yogurt or anything like that. I'm just not. I don't have that what's the word I'm looking for? That much of commitment in me. I just don't. So those of you that do green, kudos to you because you got a commitment, and I admire that. I will not do purple because purple I don't think is conducive to low carb, considering you don't pay points for the carbs, the potatoes and things like that. So I don't think you would be doing yourself any favor. Well, let me say myself. I don't think I would be doing myself any favors to have lower points and then foods that I'm just not going to eat. So, hold on again. So that's what I was talking about. There are varying degrees of low carb. You have to choose for you which way you want to do it. Now, let me tell you the basic type of carbs. There's four basic type of carbs. Simple refined, that's your table sugar. Simple natural, that is the lactose in milk and the fructose in fruit. Complex refined would be your white flour, like your breads. Complex natural would be in your whole grains and your beans. Okay, I made myself a note to go to. I got confused when I was taking my notes. I was just writing so much. So this is how, let me change this. This is how the carbs work. Okay, carbs is your main fuel source. This reminded me, I put myself a note because every time I think about carbs being your fuel source, it takes me back to high school. The football players, every single Friday, without fail, before their football game, they had a spaghetti dinner. That's because that spaghetti give them that punch of fuel they needed to get out on that football field with all that energy they were fixing to expend. Now, when it was the special, we had a special game every year between us and the next town. They had a steak dinner. So that was their treat for the special game, was their steak dinner. But every single football game, pre-meal, was spaghetti. So they carb loaded them. So that is our main source of energy. And I'm going to read it to you because I don't want to tell you wrong. Now, let me say I'm not an expert. I'm taking this off of like the Mayo Clinic and Healthline, and it seemed like there was one other one. So don't take my word for this. You go fact check yourself. You get on that computer and you fact check yourself. And if you hear me say anything wrong, sometimes I might have researched it wrong, and sometimes I just say things wrong. And I'll catch myself when I'm editing. I'm like, that's not what you were supposed to say. So it happens. But I want to read to you. Starches are broken down into simple sugars during digestion. Then they are absorbed into your bloodstream, and that's what they call the glucose. So when you're doing the glucose meter, that's what you're taking, your blood sugar, your glucose. That is the part, I put myself a note here, that's the part the doctor warned me about, was when I checked my blood sugar and there was too much glucose in it, then I ate too many carbs. Now, in general, the natural complex carbs are digested slower and they affect your blood sugar less than the refined kind. It says they have a limited effect. Now, I know they still have an effect, but I guess the slower they digest, the slower they enter. I didn't research that area because I'm not trying to write no encyclopedia. This is long enough as it is. So, rising levels of blood sugar, glucose, triggers your body to release insulin, which helps the glucose enter your body's cells. Yes, I have to do that to get my pay. Here's the trouble with that. Too much glucose, okay? You burn the glucose for your energy, and it says it's whether you're jogging or breathing, your body needs the glucose for energy. It needs it. You need it. I guess even your brain activity, you need it. What I'm doing right now, talking to you animated style, I need energy to do that. Okay. So it uses what it needs. It takes some to the liver, to the muscles, and it stores some for further later use. And the rest, which is the part we're concerned with, is stored into fat. That is how eating too many carbs can make us fat. Not everybody. Some people can sit down and eat a baked tater and a piece of cake every day of their life and never gain an ounce of weight. But some of us, we're not like that. We're not that lucky. We're not lucky enough to eat Little Debbie's all day long. So that is the premise of the low carb, is to lower your insulin levels, which in turn causes the body to burn the stored fat instead of the fresh new glucose that you bring in for energy. So if your body needs X amount of fat to do X, instead of adding it in there, make it use what it's got. So let's try to make it use up the fat we have stored instead of always, like it just came to me, it's like topping off your tank at the gas station. You get down to a quarter of a tank, a lot of times you get nervous and you're like, oh, I better top it off. I don't want to run out. Well, we're going to try to use that quarter of a tank before we add more gas to the tank. Does that make sense? That kind of makes sense to me. It just kind of came to me. Could be wrong. Now, I got that and the trouble. I just want to make sure I got all my notes in order. Now, let's talk about, since we know how the carbs work and what they do in our body, now let's talk about what I'm going to eat and what I'm not going to eat. And here again, this will vary person to person to person. It is a personal journey. It's a personal choice. It's what your body tells you to do. You know, I might start out this way, and in 2 weeks, I'm realizing you're not getting anywhere, so I need to change something up again. This is an ever-evolving journey, I think.